Revolver Underground.
What's going on, guys? It's EROCK Revolver Underground doing another Skype interview, and I'm here with Jerry and Daniel from the Mississippi Mass Choir. What's going on, guys?
Everything is going great.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. So Jerry, tell me a little bit about what the Mississippi Mass Choir is and what they're about.
Well, the Mississippi Mass Choir, we are a gospel choir. We were organized in 1988, celebrating our 25th year here at the first quarter of 2013. And our motto from day one has been serving God through song. We use the vehicle of music to really transport the Word of God throughout the world.
Wow. Now, this is, when you say mass, define mass. How many people are we talking about here?
Mass. Believe it or not, we have 240 choir members.
Oh my goodness.
And when we say Mississippi, we're from all over the state. So often you see choirs and they might be from a certain location of the state, but we have members from every region of the state. So truly would represent the state.
Wow. Well, how did this come about? How did the Mississippi Mass Choir start?
Frank Williams, who is the executive director of Malaco Music Group, Frank was recording choirs all over the country, like the Georgia Mass Choir, Florida Mass Choir, and he knew that we had such an abundance of singers here in Mississippi, and so he got together with a friend of his by the name of David Curry, and decided that they wanted to do the same thing in Mississippi that other states were doing. So the word went out. We put out a public service announcement on the radio for everyone who was interested, and a flood of requests came in. And we interviewed members, not only were we looking to see if if our members could sing, but we also wanted to make sure that they had a relationship with the Lord, because there's nothing like singing, what you really know about.
Absolutely.
And so really was that really was the start of it. Frank Williams, being the executive director of Malaco Music Group, as well as the producer there, really took this under his wing, and 25 years later, we're still trying to catch up with the first album.
Man. That is craziness. Now, you said you had over 200 people that you have in this choir. How you guys have toured all over the world? How in the world do you get all these people together to do this? And how much of an effort is this to get them together and move them forward into doing the next step?
Well, and really and truly, we say that this is God's choir, so it's definitely not our effort. We assist the Lord in doing this. But when we travel around the world, probably the largest group that we've taken out of the state probably were maybe about 60, 70 singers. We were the first gospel group to perform at Acropolis in the Athens Street. And we took about 60 members. Our first tour of Japan, we took about 30. And so what we do, you take your principal people every time, because people want to hear what they hear on the radio and see on the video. So your principal people go in every time, and then you have a rotation system where, maybe every fourth or fifth trip, the members will get a chance to go. So we rotate everyone out.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Is there ever a time when at least here in the States, where it's convenient that you have all of those people together at one time?
Yes, we're doing things maybe within about a 100-mile radius or so. We will have everyone there. And Eric, for the first 3 years, we traveled with 2 buses. We carried everybody. But it became so cost prohibitive, because can you imagine going from Jackson, Mississippi to New York City?
Oh my goodness.
With 2 buses now, and so that's about 50 hotel rooms in the bus, because we didn't own our own transportation. You're talking about chartering buses. You'll spend $15,000-$20,000 on a bus. Then on food, you have to feed these people, and so it really was a monumental task. So to stay affordable, what we did, we reduced it down to one bus load so that the promoters could afford to bring us, because it was just so cost prohibitive, and it really worked out better for us to take a smaller group, because all of our choir members have other lives, you know.
Sure.
And only a few of us really do this full time. So, you know, for people to be away from their jobs, their livelihoods, from their families, from their ministries. You know, it really, after a couple of years, everyone's excited, but after that, it really becomes a task.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
We cut it down to one bus load in order to be able to become cost effective, and then not to burn the members out.
Man, that's just seems like an amazing task to have to do that with, and it's amazing that it just happens seemingly so smoothly. I know there's always stuff that happens, but you know, from all the stuff that I've been looking at, it just seems like it just goes very well. Daniel, let me talk to you for a second. You're in charge of all the social networking type of things. Is that how that works?
Right. I work with Gary. I know he gets tons of emails from me every day, because I try to keep him in the loop, but just keeping our fans in the loop of what we're doing, where we're going, things to come. It's been fun. It's been really fun working with it and really building momentum for this. As I've heard so much, America's choir, because we wear red, white, and blue robes, and we've done things, you know, just significant of America. So we've been known as America's choir. So just try to keep the momentum going with the fans.
Sure, absolutely. So what do you guys? Are you Daniel? Are you doing anything special with social media, or even Jerry, for the 25-year anniversary? Is there anything happening?
Well, I'm waiting to hear from Dan, because he's actually the one that's really on the cutting edge of technology. So I tend to take his lead, and he has really revolutionized the way that we communicate, not only with our fans, but with each other. You know, it used to be a time where if we wanted to contact our members, we had a communication system where maybe 10 people would have 25 members that they would be responsible for contacting. And when text messages came along and email, you know, we started to, really just kind of update the way that we reach out with each other. But Dan has really come up with a system on Facebook where we have a members-only page, and we're able to get really instant messages out to members. So to answer your question, I'm still waiting to see what Dan is going to suggest for the 25th.
And he is right. I tend to get working a lot of things, but I'm doing every month up until the recording, the big event. I'm doing different campaigns just to keep the fans on the edge, to really get them engaged, and they really are excited. We just released the December one, and it's amazing, and it looks great, and it's doing what it's supposed to do. Is really keeping the fans on edge, getting them excited. We've also been just doing a lot of engaging as far as getting their input of what they want to see, because a lot of these fans have, and Jerry can really attest this, a lot of these fans have followed us all the way since the beginning. Wow. And they're still on. And we have a younger audience who probably wasn't even born or was little at the time when we started, but they're big, huge fans. And I know you're probably going to talk to Jerry about it, and I wanted to talk with Jerry, ask Jerry, about this choir, because we set some records. Being the very first for a lot of things, the stand on top of the charts. Jerry, I really wanted to talk to you about that.
Yes, well, we we recorded the project probably like in April or May of 1988, and released it later that summer. And 2 weeks after we released the project, it went #1 in the country. And it stayed #1 48 consecutive weeks. Kirk Franklin, who's probably the most renowned artist in gospel music today, Kirk was just coming on the scene, and his first record dropped, and we were replaced by Kirk, I think, for 2 weeks, and then we went back to #1 and stayed another 3 or 4 more months. So that time was an all-time record for gospel. This was on the Billboard Music Chart, and we every conceivable award out there that year, from the Stellas to the Dove, the Grammys. We were either a Soul Train Music Award. We won the Soul Train, all of the Stellas, nominated Grammy, Dove, and so earlier that we're still trying to catch up with the first record, because it really, I think, our classic record. I was listening to it the other day. I was on a road trip and I put it in, and really hadn't listened to it in a while, and it amazed me how timeless the songs are. Mm-hmm. And there was not one throwaway song on the project. And so, but as Dan said, just out of the box, and you hear people talk about an overnight success, most of the time it's not overnight. But truly, this was an overnight thing, and this is mass. That's why story, because we know that it definitely was contributed to it. But Paul said, he said, "I all of water, I increase, so that all of the increase."
Wow. That, first of all, that's amazing. This, the Mississippi Mass Choir has been known as the choir of firsts, and Jerry, everything you just said is the reason why. You just keep doing things. There's just so many things. I'm looking at the list right now, all the awards that have, the nominations. There's just so many here. I don't think we have time to mention them all. Just craziness amount of things that have been going well with this choir. There's so much stuff, Jerry, and then Daniel, we'll get back to you on this too. But Jerry, what is some of the things, one or two of the things that really stand out to you about the Mississippi Mass Choir?
Well, and one of the things, if there's a certain flavor, I would never buy into the argument that that we are better than anyone else, because it's not about that. But I think if there was one thing that maybe separated us a little bit, we injected ministry into what we're doing, and at the end of and we don't even use the word concert, we use the word service. So at the end of our service, we would do an altar call, and if there was someone who didn't have a relationship with the Lord, we wanted to give them the opportunity, because we just out there singing, you really just entertaining people. So we do an altar call, so we give people an invitation. And one of the things that's probably the most memorable to me, probably two things. One of them was when we were in Athens, Greece at the Acropolis. The promoter had recommended that we not do the altar call because the people may not respond to it. And we really clicked with them to allow us to do it. And at the end of this service, there were so many people coming down to the stage, the end of the stage, crying out and accept the Lord. And with Japan, because most of the people don't speak English, we had our lips into Japanese, and as we would sing, the translation would come across the monitor, so we wanted people to know what we were singing about. And the same thing, we gave an altar call in Tokyo, in Osaka, in Kobe, and all over Japan. And people just came down and accepted the Lord. And we're still getting emails from all over the world from people who accepted the Lord. Gospel choirs have sprung up all over Japan. And if you go you'll be able to see a lot of them singing our songs. So those things really are the most memorable thing, but it's really about the evangelism aspect that we bring to the bring it forward.
Sure. So it's basically, I mean, you have a reverend at the helm. You know, you do this as like you said, as a service, just a little bit different spin on it. It's more singing than really anything else, right?
Yeah, well, you know, if you're trying to catch, and the Bible says that for those who want to catch fish, they have to be wise. So if the fish see the hook, you're not going to catch it. So we use music as the bait, but the whole idea is the hook.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's it's one of those things where I as you can see, I have a lot of piercings, I have tattoos, and my mom is completely opposite of that. And I said, Mom, I'm a man of faith myself, and I said, Mom, you're not going to reach the same people I'm going to reach. There's no way. That's just not going to happen. Yeah. They would laugh at your face. They wouldn't even accept you as one of their own. But for me to go up to these people and talk to them about, the way I believe, the things that I believe, they're going to be more apt to listen. They may still make fun of me. They may want to punch me in the face, but they're going to listen more so than they would my mom. And that's the same thing I think that you're doing is, you're still doing everything that's supposed to happen. You're just doing it a little bit different.
Well, Eric, in this back in the day, and I used to run the record label as well, and the label that I was with, most of the music we produced was traditional gospel, and so I used to, anytime there was a debate going, and I remember CNN did a thing talking about traditional gospel music versus contemporary, and so I represented traditional gospel. Mary represented the contemporary. And they asked me about what did I think about, the contemporary music. And my statement was really the same as yours, in that if you're a fisherman, you can't use the same bait for every fish.
Exactly.
And the idea, so often we'll say, well, we've always used minnows, and we've been using this for 100 years. Why are you going to use tackle? Well, the whole idea is not about the tool. The idea is to catch fish, because sometimes if you throw a net out there, you might get some starfish, you might get some old boots, you might get everything. But the idea is to catch. The idea is not about our presentation, how we're looking, because you're absolutely right. There are some folks that you can, and even in my personal life, I work in corporate America, and there are traditional ministries that cannot sow seeds behind those doors, but because I'm behind those doors, there are things that I can do that traditional ministry cannot do.
Absolutely. That's it's one of those things where you have to find a way to reach, and that's one of the things that I really think the Mississippi Mass Choir is doing in everything that I've seen, that I've heard. Daniel, I got to come over to you. You've been with this choir for some time now. What are some things that
14 years, yeah.
Wow, well, that's pretty good. What are some things that have stuck out to you?
Like Jared said, we don't try to. We are not saying that we're better than anyone else, but it is something different. We are. I don't know if it's the fact that I remember, and Jared, quote me if I'm right on this, but Frank always said that people used to talk about Mississippi being on the bottom, but he referred to anything, if you're on the bottom, whatever's on the bottom is holding you up. And we represent our state. We represent Christ, and to wholesome. You can approach us when we do our services. We're not hiding. We're out mingling, reading. It's just something different about the Mississippi Mass Choir, and that's what attracted me to the choir. And also, Jerry is, and I tell him this all the time, but he's really served as a mentor to me to do what I do for the choir, because we have to work together in order to. My motto has been, since getting ready for the 25th year, is where there's unity, there's strength, and when we come together, we can get stronger. And so it's just really those things that stand out, and they are the reason that I became a flight attendant. because I started traveling with the choir when I was young, had never been out of Mississippi, and I said, you know what, this is okay. I like this travel. I want to see more of the world, and the choir is really one of the reasons why I became a flight attendant.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, not only is this choir just something that is amazing in itself, so it's also helping people figure out the rest of their lives.
I would think it's amazing because, Eric, one of the things is that we have with our members, because before we were formed, there really had not been a statewide choir. And so we were able to get, as Dan was saying, you know, in Dan's hometown, Dan was probably the big fish. You know, it was a lot of, there's a lot of big fish in this choir, but when we come together, there's no bigness. Right. And so we have people who are accomplished, who were in the choir maybe 15 years before they got a chance to do their first solo with the group or to appear on the recording. And they stayed in line all that time because they did not buy into this, you know, I want to be seen, I want to be heard. And it's truly, we say all the time, and we take this from the scripture, the Bible says that the parts that are unseen, God has reserved honor. It's just like with a building. You know, you can't see the support mechanism, the rafters and all the things that hold the building up. Everyone, we see the lights and the chandeliers and all those things, but the most important part of the building is really the parts that are unseen. And so we have members like Dan. We have our keyboard player, the medical doctor. One of our altos was assistant chief of police. Wow. We have school teachers, we have nurses, we have ministers, we have fighters. There are all types of occupations in this group, but when we come together, everyone checks their ego at the door, and we understand that, and we say this, and even though, you know, I'm the executive director, but I don't say that boastfully. I understand that if you want to be a chief, you have to be a servant. But we know that, you know, there cannot be more than one head, and, you know, anytime there's two heads, it's called a monster. Yep.
Well said.
When we come together with all of these talented people, everyone understands that it's not about us, that it's about Christ.
Absolutely. Right. Well, that is, man, this everything, like I said, I keep saying this, but I can't stop saying it, because everything that I've started looking at about this whole choir, the Mississippi Mass Choir, has just been, you know, you can obviously see that God is blessing and that God has His hand in this. And I am very proud to just do this little part that I can. Any way that I can help you guys out is amazing to me. You know, what do you guys? I guess where do we find you? Where do we find your music? Where do we find more about you?
Well, you can actually just Google us. We have been with Malaco Records since day one, and Malaco is spelled M-A-L-A-C-O. Okay. And you can get all of our discography there. You can go to our Facebook page and with all of our biographical info and our schedule. All of those things are there. And we're headed to Spain this coming weekend. Wow. And we've been there so many times until we really
the tourists this year. I'm lost. How many years is it, Jerry? How many times have we been? I was going to ask you that. How many times have we been? I've lost track.
It's been at least 12 times. We've been so many times. We don't even do press releases when we go out of the country before. We did South Africa last year. We've gotten an invitation to do Brazil, Argentina. We're headed back to South Africa next year. For Christmas year before last, we performed in the Canary Islands with the Canary Island Symphony, a 90-piece symphony. The year before, they had Alicia Keys as their special guest. The president of the country was there, and so, you know, the Lord has really blessed us. And when the Word says that your gift will make room for you and bring you before greatness, truly that has happened with us. The word, I mean, we have gone around the world from, and throughout the United States. I think there's only about 7 states that we have yet to appear in. So
2013.
Yeah, so hey, God's so good, and but if you want to find out additional information on the choir, you can just Google us or go to our Facebook page, and again, having someone like Dan to really just to take advantage of the social media, it's really just keeping us current, with younger fans.
Sure, absolutely. Daniel, is anything on the social side you want to tell people?
I wanted to tell, having an executive director like Jerry, someone that stays humble. Like he said, he's the executive director, and I know a lot of times that decisions and, it's like being a president, you got a lot of decisions and things, but we see him and we're always supporting and praying for him because it can be easy to work a full-time job and then have 240 people, to be over your ministry. And then you got the choir going overseas, and I think this is your first time not going, right, there, 1 or 2 times. And worrying about us and then praying for us. So I wanted to take my hat off to him because, again, since when Frank passed it on to him, I know that was a job he took on, and since '93, and we really support him, and we're looking forward to where God has taken us into, the 25th anniversary and beyond. So.
That's amazing. I mean, there's a lot of bands out there that haven't even done a third of what this choir has done, and I'm very impressed with the amount of quality that's coming out and just all of the things that are happening. So, props to both of you guys, Jerry and Daniel. That's an amazing thing you guys are doing, and I say that to everybody else that is in the choir and is involved as well. Just spread that on from me. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And, this is just any way that I can help, you let me know, and I will gladly do it.
Well, brother, you've already been a help, and we want to applaud you because, there are so many different ways that the gospel can be carried. And I shared this with the promoter the first time he brought us to Spain. This guy here brought everyone from Miles Davis back in the day, so the probably the most renowned promoter in definitely in Spain and maybe in Europe. But I told him after the first time we met, I said, you don't even realize that you are a missionary. And he said, what do you mean? I said, man, you are booking 6, 7 different gospel acts, carrying them all over the country, and you're looking at this just as a business. And so I told him that there's two ways that you can spell profit. And the first one he was looking at is PROFIT.
Yep.
And I told him that profit is also spelled PROPHET. And while he is doing the profit, he's also being a prophet.
Yep.
And he's spreading the gospel. So you're doing the same thing with Skype, and you're using all the available technology because the gospel, the Lord said, when the gospel has been spread to the end of the world, then He's going to come. And so you really are participating in that process. Maybe not traditionally, but maybe more important than because you can reach millions and millions of people, whereas traditional churches only get hundreds.
Absolutely.
So, and we pray and personally invite you to come down for our 25th year celebration.
I'd love it. I would love it.
That'd be great. I would love that too, Eric. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, Revolver Underground. Yeah,
definitely. Well, gentlemen, that's all we got for today. But let's do this again. Let's wait till after you guys get back from Spain. Maybe we'll do an update on that, and feel free to use the Facebook pages that I have. That any kind of promotion you guys want, just let me know.
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter during the tour. Right. I'm going to be doing live update feeds during the tour, every stop we make on Twitter, so you can follow us over there.
Absolutely. I love it. All right, guys, well, go check these guys out. It's the Mississippi Mass Choir. They're going to be doing some big things coming up. They've already done some huge things, and they're not done yet, so be on the lookout for these guys. Google them, Mississippi Mass Choir. Go check it out. Jerry, Daniel, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys again soon.
God bless you, Eric.
Thank you.
All right. I'm EROCK. Peace.
Revolver Underground.